Pope Leo has just led a groundbreaking Mass in the serene surroundings of the Castel Gandolfo Gardens. But this wasn't simply another routine ceremony. Something extraordinary unfolded there, filled with symbolic gestures and thought-provoking words that have already sparked intense conversations within the Church and beyond. Yet, beneath the surface of this event lies an even deeper significance, one we must carefully unpack to fully grasp its implications. The choices Pope Leo made during this Mass, as well as the subtle yet profound contradictions present, deserve our close attention. Stay with me, because the developments at Castel Gandolfo hold importance not only for the Pope or the Church hierarchy, but for every one of us. At the heart of this unprecedented celebration was the very first Mass dedicated explicitly to the care and protection of our planet. Pope Leo clearly intended this event to resonate deeply, sending a powerful message about our collective responsibility toward nature, a message that's already resonating widely and provoking thoughtful dialogue across diverse communities. But what set this Mass apart wasn't simply the Pope's spoken words about environmental stewardship. Rather, it was his decision to approve and personally utilize an entirely new liturgical text crafted exclusively for this special occasion. The careful wording of this freshly composed liturgy underscores the urgency of environmental awareness and stewardship from a uniquely spiritual perspective. The Pope's deliberate choice to hold this Mass in the picturesque gardens of Castel Gandolfo itself underscores the symbolic nature of the event. It wasn't merely a beautiful backdrop. It was a statement in its own right, a clear reflection of Pope Leo's intention to unite spiritual tradition with an urgent appeal for ecological responsibility. The lush gardens at Castel Gandolfo, once envisioned by Pope Francis as a vibrant center for ecological reflection, have now taken center stage for a groundbreaking celebration. This location wasn't chosen casually. Instead of gathering within the ornate walls of St. Peter's Basilica or any traditional sanctuary, Pope Leo deliberately chose an open-air setting. Surrounded by flourishing gardens, gentle slopes, and the serene waters of Lake Albano, the natural landscape itself became a powerful symbol of unity and harmony with creation. The Pope's arrival itself was modest and unassuming. There was no grand procession, no elaborate entourage, just a handful of carefully selected clergy who had helped craft this special liturgy, accompanied by a small, intimate group of worshippers. The atmosphere was intimate, personal, and reflective, perfectly capturing the simplicity and urgency at the heart of his message. Throughout the Mass, Pope Leo went beyond merely reciting the prepared text. He spontaneously added heartfelt words that resonated deeply with those listening, addressing pressing global issues with clarity and conviction. His voice carried genuine concern as he spoke passionately about the state of our world, not only the escalating climate crisis, but also the tragedies of war and violence. He urged all present to pray earnestly, both for their own hearts to change and for those who remain indifferent or unaware of the urgency of protecting our planet. His gestures were equally meaningful. At key moments, Pope Leo paused to extend his arms toward the surrounding gardens, inviting everyone present to quiet themselves and simply listen. In these quiet intervals, the rustling leaves, singing birds, and gentle breezes became active participants in the liturgy, reinforcing the Pope's call for attentive harmony with nature. Yet beneath this remarkable gathering, the enduring influence of Pope Francis was unmistakable. His groundbreaking encyclical, Laudato Si, had placed ecological stewardship at the forefront of his ministry, transforming the Church's relationship with environmental care. It was clear that Pope Leo was honoring and continuing this legacy, reaffirming the Church's commitment to caring for our common home with renewed intensity. Pope Leo has embraced a challenging inheritance from Pope Francis, who famously elevated environmental issues to unprecedented prominence within Catholic teaching. While Francis often employed passionate, sometimes provocative language to highlight ecological concerns, Leo has chosen a notably different path. His tone is calm, measured, yet no less compelling, an intentional departure from the intense rhetoric of his predecessor, designed to underscore both continuity and independence. Navigating this delicate balance isn't straightforward. Pope Leo cannot simply ignore the foundations laid by Francis, nor can he fully replicate the fiery style that defined his predecessor. Instead, he must find his own authentic voice, carefully introducing fresh perspectives into an already highly charged discussion. It's precisely here where we begin to notice intriguing contradictions emerging. This Mass, intended to inspire spiritual reflection and contemplation, also reiterates themes that many see as inherently political. Pope Leo's language seeks to elevate the discussion beyond conventional boundaries, yet inevitably echoes ideas and expressions often heard in environmental campaigns and global debates. Thus, this liturgical gathering was not merely a spiritual ceremony, it represented a clear declaration of the Vatican's ongoing commitment to what Pope Francis once termed integral ecology, yet it also signaled Pope Leo's desire for a more inclusive, harmonious approach, aiming to reduce division rather than provoke it. Indeed, observers quickly noted that the new liturgical text used during this Mass arrived as an unmistakable statement. Approved directly by Pope Leo but clearly influenced by Francis's landmark teachings, the text symbolizes the tensions and paradoxes facing today's Church. On one hand, the Mass remains a profound spiritual encounter with Christ. On the other, it openly embraces language reminiscent of global forums, emphasizing ecological responsibility with phrases seemingly borrowed from diplomatic conferences rather than traditional Vatican sources. This leads us inevitably to deeper, more critical questions. Is the climate emergency, despite its undeniable importance, genuinely the foremost priority for Catholic worship and liturgical life? Moreover, how can the Church authentically pray for creation, while simultaneously aligning itself with international agreements whose underlying philosophies appear fundamentally at odds with Catholic teachings on human dignity? The Vatican's unwavering endorsement of documents like the Paris Agreement places it at a difficult crossroads. Beneath commendable goals to safeguard our planet, these agreements sometimes include troubling implications, treating human life, especially vulnerable populations, as mere statistics needing reduction or management. Thus, we find ourselves confronted by a glaring contradiction, passionately advocating for ecological conversion while tacitly endorsing policies that threaten the very essence of human dignity. For those deeply attached to traditional worship, recent times have brought troubling news. Their space seems increasingly limited, regulations stricter, and access more restricted. Meanwhile, doors are enthusiastically thrown open for ecological initiatives, gardens flourish, special prayers emerge, and new liturgies rapidly gain approval. Observing this contrast inevitably leads to questions. Is the liturgy still fundamentally about worshipping God and saving souls, or has it begun to bend toward popular cultural narratives and media-driven causes? The Mass focused on caring for creation, in particular, makes it clear that the Church is far from neutral on these issues. It's an unmistakable statement, one that openly challenges traditional views that hold liturgical practices should remain untouched by secular trends. Regardless of individual perspectives, this symbolic event compels everyone within the Church to acknowledge a new reality. The Catholic world is increasingly divided. On one side stand those passionately urging prayers and actions to protect the environment. On the other, those who emphasize prayer and spiritual care aimed directly at eternal salvation. Until a genuine dialogue bridges these two perspectives, this tension within the Church seems destined only to intensify. Amidst this uncertainty, all attention now turns to Pope Leo, who has quietly withdrawn to Castel Gandolfo to contemplate his next moves. Far removed from Rome's bustling streets and noisy debates, he carefully considers future appointments, crucial reforms, and ultimately, who will succeed him and shape the Church's future. In these quiet moments, away from the public spotlight, crucial decisions are taking form, decisions that will undoubtedly affect the direction and unity of the Church. It is a delicate time, demanding not only clarity and courage from Pope Leo, but also earnest prayers from Catholics worldwide. As the pontiff discerns the path ahead, faithful around the globe are called to pray for wisdom in his decisions, and for a renewed unity within the Church, a unity capable of giving strength and clarity to its sacred mission. In this pivotal moment, Pope Leo's retreat to Castel Gandolfo symbolizes far more than simply a temporary escape from the noise and tensions of Rome. It represents a powerful moment of reflection and discernment, a profound pause that could shape the direction of the Catholic Church for decades to come. Indeed, Pope Leo faces a daunting challenge. His role now is not merely administrative. It is profoundly spiritual and pastoral. Within the tranquil, reflective environment of Castel Gandolfo, amidst gardens and quiet pathways where many popes before him have sought clarity, Pope Leo stands at a crossroads. The choices awaiting him are many, each deeply consequential, each bearing the potential either to unite or further divide the church he leads. We must recognize that these moments of solitude, away from public attention and the constant demands of media scrutiny, are precisely when the most significant decisions unfold. They are moments in which the Pope must weigh his decisions carefully, aware that each choice will echo across continents, influencing millions who look to him as a spiritual leader and guide. These moments of silence, reflection, and earnest prayer shape history as profoundly as public declarations or dramatic gestures. At the heart of this introspective pause, Pope Leo must wrestle with questions that are both ancient and modern, eternal yet strikingly contemporary. How does the Church remain true to the unchanging message of Christ while addressing urgent issues facing the modern world? How can it faithfully serve humanity's spiritual needs while responding authentically to the crises affecting our planet and society? This delicate balancing act is what truly makes his task complex. The Pope must remain the shepherd to all Catholics, those who fervently embrace progressive visions of care for the environment, and those equally passionate about preserving traditional forms of worship and spirituality. His leadership will need to encompass diverse perspectives, bridging divides that currently appear vast and irreconcilable. Pope Leo's responsibility now is monumental. It is not merely a matter of navigating political or social pressures. It is ultimately a question of spiritual discernment. His choices must be guided by something deeper than worldly logic or popular trends. They must arise from a prayerful reflection deeply rooted in the Church's sacred tradition and a clear-eyed understanding of contemporary challenges. But this period of solitude and prayerful contemplation does not rest solely upon the Pope's shoulders. It also places a profound responsibility upon every faithful Catholic around the world. Pope Leo's discernment process invites all of us into a collective moment of reflection and prayer. The Church is not merely its leadership, nor solely its institutions, it is fundamentally its people, united in faith and purpose. As Pope Leo seeks guidance, Catholics worldwide must also ask themselves, how can we contribute positively and constructively to healing divisions, rather than deepening them? This is a call to renewed humility and openness on all sides. Those passionate about ecological stewardship must remember that care for creation ultimately arises from recognizing the dignity and worth of human beings as stewards entrusted by God. Similarly, those strongly attached to tradition must be open to the Holy Spirit's ongoing renewal, recognizing that tradition is not merely about preserving the past, but about ensuring its relevance for future generations. Moreover, this reflective pause at Castel Gandolfo serves as an invitation to rediscover the essence of Catholic identity, an identity rooted in love, compassion, truth, and genuine communion. It reminds us that at the heart of every debate, every controversy, and every new liturgical form lies the timeless call to conversion of heart. True spiritual renewal cannot merely be legislated or proclaimed. It must be lived sincerely and authentically, emerging from hearts deeply transformed by genuine encounters with Christ. This moment, therefore, is profoundly significant not just for Pope Leo, but for the whole Church. It presents a chance to move beyond divisions, to genuinely seek unity through humility, prayer, and mutual understanding. It calls for courageous, yet compassionate leadership, a leadership willing to listen, discern, and guide wisely rather than impulsively. Ultimately, Pope Leo's reflections and decisions will shape the legacy he leaves for generations to come. The Church stands at a crucial threshold, and the path forward demands careful consideration and profound spiritual insight. However, despite the difficulties and complexities involved, this moment should also inspire hope. The very fact that the Pope has retreated to reflect, to listen, and to pray deeply signals a commitment to thoughtful, spiritually grounded leadership that seeks genuine communion rather than easy popularity. All faithful Catholics are thus called upon in this critical moment, not simply to wait passively for outcomes, but to actively support Pope Leo through their prayers, through fostering dialogue in their own communities, and through their personal commitment to embodying Christ's message of love and compassion in daily life. The decisions that emerge from this quiet retreat will undoubtedly face scrutiny, discussion, and debate. They will inevitably provoke reactions from all sides. Yet, perhaps more importantly, these choices also offer an opportunity for renewal and unity, a chance for the Church to emerge stronger, clearer, and more authentically itself. In the coming days and months, as Pope Leo returns from his contemplation at Castel Gandolfo, the world will watch closely. The Church's next steps could very well signal a new direction, one guided by wisdom, courage, and a deep, authentic commitment to the gospel message. As the faithful await these decisions, let them also actively engage in shaping the Church's future through prayer, patience, and dialogue. Indeed, the story unfolding now is not simply about Pope Leo. It is about all of us. It's about our collective journey toward unity, compassion, and holiness. In this time of anticipation and discernment, every Catholic is invited to participate actively, not merely as a spectator to history, but as a vital part of the unfolding story of faith, hope, and transformation.